Sis, eyeshadow is one of those things that can make or break your entire look. If your base is flawless and your eyeshadow is crazy, I'm telling you, it's not gonna look good. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys a step-by-step eyeshadow tutorial that will take you from beginner to advanced. Once you know how to do this look, I'm telling you, you'll be able to do any eyeshadow look. So if you're interested, just continue to watch. All right, sis, so I have you up close and personal. So the first thing you want to make sure that you do is prime your eyelids. Now you have two options for what you can use to prime your eyelids. You can go in with a corresponding eyeshadow primer base. So that's just a product that's going to help your colors stick and stay onto your eyelids. Or you can go in with a concealer. Now the difference with a concealer is going to allow your shadows to really pop, especially if you use a concealer that is 2 to 3 shades lighter than your complexion. The reason being is once you have a really light canvas, the colors are bound to pop and be more visible on the eyelids, as well as being able to really stick and stay onto the skin. If you do skip using a primer or a concealer on your eyelids, your eyeshadows are bound to move and not stay throughout the day because we are blinking, we are using our eyes throughout the day. Of course, things are going to move around on the eyelids. So going in with a primer just helps ensure the longevity of your eyeshadow. So today I'm going to be using the Revlon Colorstay Flex Wear Full Cover Concealer. This is a 24-hour wear concealer and it is considered a full coverage concealer. If I'm going to recommend any type of concealer, it is going to be a concealer that is oil free and full coverage. Full coverage being is that it's going to allow your colors to stick and stay onto your eyelids, as well as give a really nice clean canvas. So you definitely want to avoid concealers that are oil based. This is going to be a no-no because your eyeshadows are going to be moving around with all that extra oil on your eyelids. You want to stay away from oil based concealers. So anything that is full coverage and soft matte finish is something that you want to use in terms of your concealer. So I'm just going to use this to clean up my eyebrows. So just really shape them in place, as well as prime and set the eyelids. So I'm just going in with my concealer blending brush to blend out my concealer, and all I'm doing is blending this down towards the eyelids because I'm going to be concealing that as well. And then I'm just going to take that concealer and apply just a little bit to the eyelids, and then all I'm doing is patting this on the eyelids. This is just going to prime and set our eyelids up for the eyeshadow we're going to be using. All right, so now that you have your concealer down, you can go in with a translucent powder. I usually don't go in with any powders after this. I like to go straight in with my eyeshadow. This is because eyeshadows are powders anyways, and once that tackiness is on the eyelids, this is going to allow the eyeshadows to stick and stay on your eyelids. All right, so the eyeshadow palette of choice today is the Revlon Colorstay Day to Night eyeshadow palette, and I love this because it's considered a quad eyeshadow palette. So we only have 4 eyeshadows to really choose from to create an eye look. I feel like this is really beginner friendly because you're not overwhelmed with too many options. Once you have maybe about 4 to 6 options in terms of your eyeshadow, it's really easy to create an eyeshadow look. All right, so the first shade is considered your transition color. So your transition color is always a flesh tone shade. This is what the other colors are going to transition into so that everything looks really blended. So when we think of transition color, we're thinking of something flesh tone. So in this palette, we only have 4 options. So in terms of flesh tone, I'm looking at this shade here. Flesh tone shades usually are warm shades, so oranges, nudes, browns, things like that. So in this palette, I am going to be using this shade here. And then the brush that you want to go in with is a fluffy blending brush. So this one is actually from the brand Menage. This is the blending brush number 7. So this is what you can use to blend out your transition shade. This is just going to allow you to really blend your eyeshadow on your eyelids. Before you go in with your first shade, I always recommend to just go over your eyelids so that the creases are really blended out and you're not going in with that eyeshadow powder in any creases. So you want to dip into that eyeshadow, dust off the excess, and what you want to do is work in circular motions and windshield wiper motion. So those are the 2 basic ways that you can blend out your eyeshadow. So with this, we're going to start with circular motions and just really diffusing it. I like to work on the outer edge first, dust off the excess, and then just really diffuse that shade. And you can either go clockwise first and then counterclockwise to diffuse. just like that. So that is pretty much how our transition shade is going to look once we apply it down. Your transition shade is usually right above the crease. So wherever the fold is of your eyes is your crease. So speaking of crease, we're gonna go in with our crease shade now. So for your crease shade, it is always a darker shade than your transition shade. Your crease shade is always what's going to be probably like the smokiness of the eyeshadow. It's what's going to really give that dark, in-depth look to your eyeshadow look. So in this palette, our darker shade would be considered this one here. So the reason I even chose this eyeshadow palette is so that it's really straightforward on what types of shades to use and when. So when we're going in with our transition color, we want to go in with a tapered blending brush. So that's going to be something that's a little bit more tapered together in terms of the bristles. This is what's going to apply your eyeshadow directly in the crease. So again, you want to dip into that shade, dust off the excess, always dust off the excess. Do not forget this. This is what's going to prevent you from going in with so much eyeshadow where it's just going to be really impossible to blend out. So always start with a little bit and you could always work your way. I always say this in all my videos. So we're gonna apply that in the crease. So again, our crease is where that line is, where the fold is. And what I like to do is pack the shade on first, just like that. And I like to focus it in the outer V, like this part here. That is where I like to focus the crease color. So we're just packing that on, just like that. Now, once I pack it on, I could see where that crease color is. I go back in with my blending brush. The blending brush is what's going to help blend and diffuse the two shades together. So where that line meets is where you want to blend, and I usually use windshield wiper motions to blend that out. You could also use circular motions to blend it out as well, just like that. And if you need to, you can always go back in with more to build the intensity. So I'm just gonna apply a bit more to the outer V, and then again, my blending brush. So you can see that I'm going back and forth with my blending brush and my crease brush. So with my blending brush, we're going to just blend out that edge and really smoke out the crease shade. And a good tip when you're holding your eyeshadow brushes, you don't want to hold so close. This is going to not give you much control in terms of the blending. So you want to hold towards the end of your brush, not at the end, but a little bit towards the end, and that's just going to give you the control to blend out that eyeshadow. All right, so next is your lid color. So for your lid color, you have the option to use a few different shades. So you have the option to go in with a light matte shade. So in this palette, we're looking at this one here, or we can go in with a shimmer shade. So we already have two eyeshadow looks that we can create with the same steps that we've already done. So we can go in with the shimmer shade or the matte shade next. So for your lids, you want to go in with a shader brush. So this is the Menage medium shader brush number 2, and a shader brush is usually flat like this. This is what's going to allow you to either pack on the matte shade or swipe on your shimmer shade. So you always want to use something flat for your eyelids. So I'm actually going to use the matte shade today. So we're going to dip into that. Again, we're going to dust off the excess. And with matte shades, you want to press that shade onto your eyelids. So always remember, matte shades, you want to press and pack that shade on. Shimmer shades, you want to swipe to get the color payoff of both. So I'm just gonna press this all over the eyelid. And you also want to follow your natural crease, just like that. Okay, so you see that I have that lid shade on. You wanna go back in with your crease brush and just go over that in the creases to make sure everything's blended. And then you want to blend out the edges here. So again, we're just making sure pretty much everything is blended together. And you could always go back in if you need to add a bit more pigment. So just like that, we have our eyeshadow done on the top portion. So now we can work on the bottom portion. So for the bottom portion, you want to work on your bottom lash line. So for your bottom lash line, you want to go in with what's considered a pencil brush. So this is the Menage Eye Blender brush. So it is shaped and pointed like a pencil, and this is what's going to help you apply that shade right in the lash line and keep it there. You don't want to use something fluffy, because if you use something fluffy, everything is going to go onto your concealer, onto your face. It's just not going to look good. So you always want to go in with either something that is pointed like this, which is considered like a pencil brush, or something flat and short like this one. So for your bottom lash line, you want to go back in with your crease shade, which is the dark shade. This is what's going to bring the eyeshadow look together. So I'm going to dip into that, dust off the excess, and we're just going to shade this along the bottom lash line. You also want to connect it just like that. Okay, so at this point, we've applied our eyeshadow. Now we can customize the eye look. So in terms of customizing, I'm talking about mascara, eyeliner, all of that. So it depends on what you want to do. But for today, I'm going to apply my false lashes because you guys already know me. I love a nice false lash. So I'm going to pop on my Ardell Wispies and then I'll be back to finish up the look. All right, sis, so I have my lashes on. So at this point, I'm gonna go in with some eyeliner. So I'm just gonna apply this to my waterline. And then I'm gonna go in with some mascara and just apply this to my top and bottom lashes. All right, so just like that, we finished the eye look. So you could see how everything came together in the end. So this is what you would consider a really basic eyeshadow look. And as long as you know how to do this, you will know how to do a lot of other looks. So this is just the basics. So I'm gonna finish up the other eye and then I'll be back to close off the video. All right, so this is what your eyeshadow will look like once you're finished. So this is what is considered a very basic eyeshadow look. Once you know how to do this, sis, you are good to do any other eyeshadow after this. This is literally what we consider a basic eyeshadow look. So this look you can wear for many different occasions. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope I was really detailed on the brushes to use, which I'll tag below for you to check out, and what kind of eyeshadows to use, when to use it, and all that good stuff. So I hope I was really detailed. If you are new to my channel and haven't subscribed, sis, make sure you're subscribed. Also hit the bell so that you're notified each time I upload. I do upload every Sunday at 1 p.m. But yeah, that is about it. I do have a lot of videos for you to brush up on as well. I just uploaded a 10-minute makeup tutorial on how to really get through your makeup look in 10 minutes or less. I also have a blending tutorial on how to blend out your makeup. So I'll leave it here on the screen for you to check out. This goes really in depth on the blending techniques and things to just really look out for when blending out your makeup. So I hope you guys enjoyed and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.